Hello, I'm going to speak about what is heap size and how it works and how we can alter these according to Bhumi recommendations when we are utilizing high volume on Bhumi integration. So this is a very important part of how the infrastructure is planned to host your runtimes, that is your atoms, molecules, or cloud instances. So what exactly does a heap size mean? So it is basically in the backend, there is some memory allocation for all the Java objects and any classes within it that is being done at the runtime level. So let's say there is a new object that comes in onto your runtime. So it always utilizes some amount of the heap space. So it refers to these objects later and it refers it back in the heap size itself. So if you are having a really huge heap size, that means there is going to be a larger amount of time that is needed to actually look at these objects within the Java application. So it is very important to plan how this memory allocation works according to what your requirement is. So we do have a document which is around high volume troubleshooting. So what is considered a high volume? I'm going to quickly talk through that. So whenever you're attempting to process a very large data without actually batching them. So let's say about 100K records are coming in and it is not batched. If all of that is coming simultaneously and if multiple processes are executing simultaneously, it is, of course, like it is attempting to process all of those data at one time. So it causes the runtime to break. It crashes the atom. You'll see alerts such as, low memory warnings. This is a very common warning that you might see. This is the required consumption and this is how much it has taken up. So you'll end up seeing a lot of these memory issues, which will in fact crash the atom. So if this happens very regularly, that means the infrastructure that is planned may not be right for the amount of data that is getting integrated within the Boomi processes. So yes, and also if there's like insufficient memory or inefficiency of it, even that could cause all of these out of memory exceptions in the container logs. So you can also download the thread dumps in such scenarios and provide it to the Boomi support. We will be able to analyze what process is consuming that much amount of memory and suggest changes accordingly. So I'm also going to quickly share my screen and show what the Boomi recommendation looks like currently. So I'm referring to the high volume troubleshooting. So let's say, for example, if there are about 100K records that you need to process, then the RAM usage can be in and around 1 GB. That is a good amount. So if somewhere around 200 to 500K, you can have 2 GB of RAM. Anything above that, we would recommend using 4 GB and more. So this is very important to ensure you plan the runtime accordingly. And you should also leave some amount of memory for the OS and normal functionalities of the OS itself. So if your OS requires 3 GB of RAM, for example, and if it needs to be functioning without Boomi, set that 3 GB aside. So don't use that in any other runtime infrastructure. If you do not have that enough memory for the OS to function, again, in such scenarios also, you will most likely run into performance issues or the server won't function that well at all. I hope this helps. Thank you.